Today, I'd like to introduce you to a series that has been making a lot of noise lately, and it has caught the attention of many fans. If you are also interested in the content of the best movies and series, then subscribe to our channel right now and press the bell next to it to be notified when we post a new video as soon as possible. From series, a series in the genre of fantasy, horror, and mystery. And until this moment, when I am recording this video, the 6th episode of the 2nd season of this series has been aired, and a new episode is released every Sunday. Before I talk about this series, let me say very briefly that the production of this series was originally supposed to be done by YouTube itself, but YouTube took so long to make this series that finally the whole project of making this series was transformed to Epic's channel. The only positive point of this case was that the screenwriter and executive producers of this series remained in their place. It is interesting to know that the producers of this series are the Russo brothers, who previously made Endgame and Avengers Infinity War 2. The story of this series makes a stunning and fascinating start from the first 10 minutes, which makes you have to continue until the last part of the series. The story starts like this. Almost at sunset, you see an old and relatively deserted city, which generally has a very small population. The sheriff of this city takes a bow in his hand and starts going around the city and rings the bell as well. What is even more strange is that immediately after hearing the bell, people all start going to their homes. They all call their children to go home as soon as possible, and all the shops start to close. And now the story becomes even more strange. When the camera goes inside the houses or shops, all the houses or whatever the roof is above the head, there is a piece of stone right next to the door attached to the wall with a nail. When people close the door, they all draw all the curtains. Here the series touches us that you should not look outside. Creatures exactly like humans come out of the forest. If these things reach humans, then not even a few pieces of flesh and bones will be left of humans. The nature of these creatures is not clear. What's scarier than the fact that these are cannibals? It is that they can talk just like people, pretended to be Becky, and even can change their voices to make you open the door for them. But the only difference between them and humans is that they only come out at night and have a soulless evil smile on their face, which of course makes them more scary. Now the question is, why don't people run away from here? Or why not anyone helps them? Now I will give you the answer to these why. The thing that is more terrifying than the creatures of the forest is the city itself, that anyone who enters the city can no longer leave. So that all the people of this place were all going to the same way, and in the middle of the forest road they see a broken tree in the middle of the road, and they are forced to go through another road, which makes everyone come back to the city. Now these people were forced to start a life for themselves there. For example, someone who was in the army is the sheriff of the city. Someone who knew how to cook now runs a restaurant, and they created a set of rules for themselves. All of them must respect these rules. An example of the rules here is that no one should go out after dark. Everyone should draw the curtains in their houses, and anyone who causes someone's life to be in danger will be excluded from this society. Having said all this, it was only less than half of the first episode of this series, and if you like this type of a story and series, you should see the rest of it. In this series, a series of actors who are not famous have been deliberately used so that the audience knows that all the characters are equal to each other in such a place, and at any moment it is possible for any of them to be killed and leave the series. So far, 16 episodes of this series have been aired. It has been good and attractive in general, but I've only said its good points so far. But this series, like any other series, has negative points too, which we will discuss now. Series in this category such as Lost, Attack on Titan, or even the new series of Apple TV, Silo, have a great sense of belonging, and you can't wait to find out the final secret. It can be a positive point, and also it can be a negative point as well. Now, why did I say this? Because one of the features of From series is not addressing the main topic of the story. The series repeatedly creates new questions instead of answering the previous ones, and in the end only two things will happen. The first possibility is that the series has a plan to answer all the secrets of the story, and it is going to surprise you. The second possibility is the worst possible possibility, and that is that the creators will prolong the series and many unanswered questions will remain, and the result of this will be a series with a great start and a disaster ending. This possibility reality is exactly what happened to many well-known series in the world. But I hope this will not happen and we will get answers to our questions. The score of the users on the IMDb website is a score of 7.7 out of 10, and the score of the users of the Rotten Tomatoes website is 98 out of 100, which is of course a very good score. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not a member of the channel and you like this style of content, then be sure to subscribe to the Review Movie channel. And don't forget that your biggest support for us is your like and subscribe. Until the next video, take care and bye.